It was interesting to see them side by side tonight, and a very vigorous, as you mentioned, Frank, a very vigorous debate.
And also respectful debate. Jana, thank you. Now to our panelists. Joining us, James Taylor, professor of politics at the University of San Francisco, and Brian Sobel, our political analyst.
And Brian, going into the debate, the guiding thought was do no harm.
Yes.
Did either candidate stumble?
No, I think they basically both went in fairly well scripted, came out without stepping on a nail or anything. You know, all in all, I think they both performed pretty well.
James, most of the polls that were taken afterwards seemed to suggest that most people thought that Mike Pence won. Would you agree with that? And if so, why?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It all depends. Like one local national channel said that Kaine had won, and another channel said that Mike Pence had won. So it all depends on sort of one's framework and sort of how one approached this
What
debate.
did you think?
I personally thought that Pence held his own. He was substantive. If you go back to the 1960 debate, was of the two candidates the more cool, calm, and collected, the more composed. But as erratic as Kaine was, he had some good substantive positions that he raised against Trump and against the ticket.
And one thing that was interesting is it seemed like these vice presidential candidates really dug into some of the issues that the candidates themselves didn't tackle. The Clinton Foundation, the emails, the tax returns. Do you feel like they were effective in putting those to bed, or do you think that they just kind of kept feeding into what the candidates themselves had been saying?
They didn't put it to bed. I think what they did, however, is raise the issues, have a good discussion about them, and I think we will revisit that again on Sunday during the debate between Clinton and Trump.
One thing that everyone wanted to see is, should something happen to the president, the vice president would have to step in. Did these men tonight prove that they are ready to do that?
There was only one question that seemed like all night that question was raised about presidential readiness, and that was early in the debate. One of the first questions, if not the first question, was about presidential readiness, and both sort of gave these stock answers about their in-state experiences, and then all of a sudden Kaine went ballistics, and the tone of the whole debate changed. But first it was sleepy response to presidential readiness.
But I think at the end of the day, they both proved that they have their, they know the issues, and that they would be ready to step in an event where one of the presidential candidates or as president had a problem. That was real clear.
When you first came out here, you were saying to me during the break before the show started that faith, the conversation.
Yeah, I think the high point of the night in terms of this debate, and I'm glad you all have reiterated the respectful tone of this debate, but when both Pence and Kaine talked about their personal faith, I thought that was a high moment for the country to hear two very contrasting views. One is an evangelical Christian, one is a Jesuit-trained, missionary at one point in Honduras, I believe it was, Kaine. And that was just very powerful to me to hear Kaine talk about the issues that were brought up in 1988 with Ferraro, whether she would be loyal to the Catholic Church or to the Constitution, and that happened again, to other Catholics. And so this was very powerful, I thought, to have Kaine articulate that he can hold one policy position and also one personal position and not cross these over.
Did you think it was effective? Because we did hear him repeatedly, maybe 5 or 6 times I counted during the debate, at least, challenge Pence on whether his positions could be, made into agreement with what Trump has said. And he said publicly that he's disagreed. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it was sort of like Kaine is in the position, Pence is in the position of defending the indefensible. And all night he did not sort of reiterate and shore up Donald Trump's, most outlandish positions. Whenever they were raised, he would just sort of ignore them. And
more to the point, he's such a professional debater that he was able to pivot over and over again. You couldn't land a punch on the guy. And that, when you look at debating skills, Pence is very, very good.
There was a lot of talk about Kaine being too aggressive, that he was constantly interrupting, that he was too wound up, that he was too prepared.
He was like Donald Trump.
Well,
he was pretty wound up.
Somebody was counting it and said he interrupted 72 times or something. But you know what? He had a job to do tonight, and it was to come out and really try to upset Pence and to get his talking points out there.
Do you think he did that?
To an extent, but Pence was just cool. Nothing seemed to rattle him.
James, very, very quickly, we're out of time. Do you think that the debate tonight changed any minds when it comes to independence?
No, I think independents are, about 7%, if I'm not mistaken, left, and they're sort of trying to figure out which way to go. I don't think these debates push the needle one way or the other at this point. If so, Michael Dukakis would have been president when Lloyd Bentsen, destroyed Dan Quayle in the debate.
And all the headlines that come out of tonight will be evaporated in a couple days when the presidential second.
Absolutely. They don't go away over the next couple couple days.
All
That's
right.
right.
James, thank you.
Thank you.
Brian, thank you as well.
Yep.
Jana, thank you.